pretend like you are. Okay, so this morning, let's go ahead and start. You probably had a little bit of time to think about maybe who you want to shout out, like who on your teams are like doing an awesome job, like who's showing grit or results, right? Or maybe they are building wealth, right? Or maybe they're showing up as a leader, or maybe like they have that extra bit of teamwork, right? Or a extra portion of humility, and you just want to shout them out, and you just raise your hand or speak up. And while you're thinking about that, I want to give a shout out to Jordan and Jordan Davis's team. Jordan qualified for Gary Keller's mastermind. And that's a big deal, right? $1.8 million GCI rolling 12 months. It's massive. So shout out to the Jordan Davis team out there. You guys are killing it. And results are showing up, right? So I love that. Tamala, yes, ma'am.
I just want to shout out my entire team. I literally been making a joke. Like when I first started, I was like, I want to keep you guys in my pocket. And now that I have Slack, they're always in my pocket. Any chance I get to ask any questions, they're always answering and responsive right away. This week I needed for launch, I needed a buyer's presentation to shadow, right? Tony volunteered and she did one for me, so it counted for me. Rob showing me about the expires, giving me all of his knowledge. Daniel, I needed something yesterday last minute. He came through. Branding with questions. Everybody that I'm needing is just here, and I love being in this environment, and I just love learning every day.
Oh, I love it. And I love your heart for sharing all of that. Thank you so much. And I'm telling you, San Antonio's like Slack channel is always so blowing up. I mean, you guys talk so much. So grateful that you guys are here and crushing it together. Veronica, good morning.
Hi, good morning. I wanted to shout out the San Antonio team as well. I am actually in my Airbnb because I am moving to Delaware tomorrow, but I just wanted to I'm grateful for everyone, especially Brandon, the ops team in general too, and for you, Adelina. This has been a fantastic experience for me for my first full year of real estate. And I mean, words cannot express my gratitude. I will be partnering with place up in Delaware. So looking forward to all referrals in Texas for all of you folks as well. My love to everybody, and I'll see you guys soon.
That's right. It is not goodbye. It is just see you later. And for everyone who doesn't know Veronica, she is awesome, a mom of 4. And she has just crushed her first year, and her husband's in the armed services, and guess what you get to do? You get to move more often than sometimes you'd like. So we appreciate you. Brandon, yes, sir.
Well, Veronica beat me to it. However, the shout out today for somebody who exhibits all of our values from G to H, she is that person. So when I think of, potential partnerships and people who we're trying to build our organization with, it's people like her. And so she's leaving, she's, obviously still referrals welcome up in Delaware. I'm glad she shouted herself out for that. She's a closer. So if you need somebody, trust in Veronica, she will get your clients set up. But yeah, she shows all of our values, every single day. I think yesterday was her last day in the office, and I think everyone would agree that was tough because of who she is and what she brings, to our friendships and our partnerships. So super major, gigantic, huge shout out to her. Obviously, we're going to miss her. Tony's still crying, she said. But thank you, Veronica, and just a shout out.
Right on. Well, that feels good. We all want to be loved and valued like that. And really the key to being valued and loved like that is what you put out is what you get back. Life is just energy, right? It's a beautiful thing. And she is a closer. Somebody asked me last night at dinner, gosh, how do you not feel weird closing, closing a recruit or closing for anything, right? Like how does it not feel weird to you? And I'm like, why would it feel weird? how could it feel weird, right? Like, like if I was talking to Brandon, Brandon, I'd love to be in partnership with you. I'd love to be a business partner with you. Or if he was a seller, I'd love to work with you, Brandon. Like, I mean, like, tell people what you want, right? Close them like authentically. It feels good. It feels good, right? I love that.
Hey, can I shout out her again real quick? Story time, because I haven't shouted out the team enough, I think. But so just when we started going through the career visioning process with Veronica, she was the fourth partner to join our new San Antonio team last year. And during the first one, we talk about goals and value and plan and everything. But I always foreshadow launch and the 86 days, right? And I was like, well, that to get day one, you got to have 200 sphere minimum. And that's how we're going to help you launch your business and set the foundation and launch and stuff. And so we met like 3 days later and she's like, hey, I'm done with the 200. So, I'm glad we're meeting again. Like she was the first one I had talked to who had ever done that. Right. So from the get-go, she didn't know real estate, although she had bought multiple houses as her and her husband and kids have moved with the armed forces. But she knew how to work and get busy and treat people the right way. But that's my favorite story so far from Veronica, is that she showed up, not even on the team yet, just ready, done. And that's something that takes people, sometimes 2 weeks to get knocked out. She did it before our second interview. So that's what's on the forefront of my mind when I think about her, is that she's always willing to put in the time and work. And then the growth that she's had has been crazy, but she started it with that, right? The want to help people and the want to work.
Right on. We appreciate that TED Talk this morning. That was good. All right, for everyone that joined us after everything, we have amazing teams. Anytime you guys have stuff you want to shout out, it's awesome. We'll be here next week, guys. I'll be ready for your shout outs for your team members, or sometimes maybe you need to shout yourself out. You're doing a great job. I don't know. I don't have Texas stats for you. I think this is maybe the first time that I don't have Texas stats for you. I know it's going to be mind blown. I did them last night and they didn't. I don't know where they saved, how they saved. They did not save. There is no saving that happened. I'm telling you, I'm staying at the worst hotel ever. For anybody who's been to the Bellingham area, do you guys remember Semiahmoo? It is not what you remember, you guys. I don't know what we were thinking 4 or 5 years ago. This place is crap. It is skeleton crew, horrible. Oh, it's bad. It's bad.
Say what you mean, partner. Say what you mean.
I know. Well, their internet also sucks. Ask Jaime. But anyway, we'll get started today. We have a cool one. Today is the last day of the third quarter, you guys. I don't know if that is kind of weird. It's really weird for me that it's already the last day of the third quarter. We get to walk into quarter 4, which is awesome. We get to end the year right and then also start a new year. But I wanted for the next 3 weeks, as we're thinking about our next year, as we're thinking about business planning, we're kind of getting into that mode. The next 3 weeks, I just want to interview some of our top agents for the third quarter, right? Like the quarter we're just ending right now. And this morning I've got 3 of them. Next week I'll have 3 of them, and the following week I'll have 3 of them. And the purpose is for you to, number one, see what's possible in one quarter. A lot is possible. Number 2, some of these folks are new. Some of these folks have been here a year or 2. Some of these folks have been here 4, 5, 6 years. And all of that is relevant because you're able to see what is possible and what is possible within a bigger time frame, a smaller time frame, and all of that. One of my favorite quotes is, if I have seen further than others, it's because I was standing on the shoulders of giants, right? And so all of us get to stand on the shoulders of giants, and I'm so grateful for that. So I'm going to go ahead and spotlight my crew this morning. Let me see, I'm going to find my 3 for this week, and then let me see. Oh, Jonathan, you're the first spotlighter. Hold on. Let me find my other spotlighters. Maria, let's find Maria and let's see if I can spotlight her. Oh, I can. And then, oh my goodness, I hope you guys aren't feeling awkward because it's about to get started. There we go. So we've got Jonathan and Maria and Akash this morning. So I've got 6 questions for them, and they're going to talk about whatever they want in those 6 questions. They might not even answer my questions. I don't know. Doesn't matter. they might do whatever they want, and they are welcome to do that. But if I were you, I would take out a piece of paper, I would take out my notes, whatever you do to not rely on your memory, right? Relying on your memory is, the older you get, I'm telling you, I'm 35. It's not good. It's not good. And so the action plan that I would have if I were doing this is I would take notes, and then at the end, I would pick one thing that I'm going to implement right away. Because like all this knowledge is powerless if you don't put anything into action, right? And so you just wasted a good 40 minutes of your day, right? This morning, Jonathan, Maria, Akash, thanks for joining us and for always being willing to help all of us. Let's start in no order. Like, where did your business come from in Q3? And to set it up for you guys, these guys sold anywhere between 4 million, 6 million, and 9 million last quarter. Big, like an entire year, basically in one quarter. Where'd you guys' business come from? Whoever wants to start, and then everybody else go.
I'll start.
Cool.
Okay, I just kind of tallied everything up. My business came from 3 agent referrals. One of them was a college football friend that I played with, and he's out in Katy, Texas. Another one was a referral that was looking for an agent to help with an investor. And then one of the other referrals was one that came from another agent out in Utah that I helped another client earlier in the year. It was a second referral from that agent. So that was cool. Privity IDX lead that just got them out there looking at houses and finally pulled the trigger. Open House was another one where they just really fell in love with the value proposition that we have on the team, and was able to sell them on that. And they were actually out interviewing agents. They weren't really looking at houses, per se, but they were looking for an agent. Listing came from Circle Prospecting, Mojo, so that was great. Just happened, I was calling him every couple of weeks and just happened to call him on the day that he was ready to list, and just accepted a new job to go to Houston. So, and then a Sphere family. So definitely my word of that is, hey, we have to prove ourselves to our families too, to show that we can handle complex transactions, right? Like they aren't just automatically going to accept us as their agent. And then I had one past client referral. So I helped his mom and dad sell a very complex little condo up in Pflugerville that took me about 4 months to close, and I didn't make a lot of money on it, but I got the sale of the son's house. And then a Zillow. So that was my rundown.
Man, that's a lot of business pieces from a lot of places. Awesome. Very cool. Maria, Akash, where did you guys' stuff come from?
Good morning. So mine came from, I had 2 sign calls they were from just old listings from probably the past couple years that I followed up with. 4 past clients. 2 of those were originally expired leads. And then the other 2, I believe, were listings that they had bought several years ago and they were ready to sell and move to a different state. 2 internet leads, and those were both about 2-year nurtures. 6 agent referrals. 3 of those were from agents who had sent multiple clients and like a relocation company partnership, and 3 Sphere/Sphere referrals. 2 of those people were actually from within the industry, like people I had met networking. One was like an agent that interviewed with us like 3 or 4 years ago that I kept in touch with, and he referred someone to me. So keeping up with networking, and just, you never know what business is going to come from. So just keeping up with people. 3 past client referrals, and then 1 3-year nurture open house. And another kind of interesting story about one of those Sphere referrals, it was actually a 4-year nurture that, this is going to get confusing, but I had a listing. The buyers of that listing, so not my clients, to make the deal work, they needed to get out of their lease. And so they were having trouble doing that. So I offered to connect with their landlord to help them find a tenant. And that landlord owned several properties, and I kept in touch with them. and did a few lease listings for them, which isn't super fun, but I knew that they had several properties, so they eventually became a seller client.
Well, how about that, man? I wrote that down, like always finding solutions and nurture the suckers. Like you don't nurture them, business ain't going to be there. Right. And sometimes it feels good to have now business, right? Like you do an open house and they want to buy this weekend. God, those are great. And then sometimes they're, a year, 3 years out. Right on. Akash, where'd your business come from?
So my business came from open houses, Brivity, Facebook. Big chunk coming from the open houses in Brivity, basically. So the open houses, one of the open house leads, we were shopping since November when I first started, and we were going everywhere. The home that he loved went in and out of contract twice, and then we snuck in the third time to solidify, and we got him under contract. And I knew to stick this one out with him because he had a house to sell as well. So it was really nice to be able to get both sides of that. And then with the Brivity lead, there was one that came in, I called it right away, and she was like, I keep getting spam calls from all you realtors because my son is putting my phone number everywhere on these websites. And I just kind of was like, well, it sounds like your family wants to move. Is that kind of accurate? And we kind of dug into it. I played the LP mama, I found her pain. And she was like, some nice gentleman showed up and offered me $600K for my house and I can stay in another home while I search for another one. And I was like, wait 1 second, I'm going to come over, look at your house. I think it's worth more than that. We ended up getting her $900K for that house instead of the 600. So she fully trusted me and we were able to go get her the other house a few weeks later that she purchased with cash. But yeah, that's where the big chunk of my business came from.
Wow. Gosh, man, you guys, like whenever you're feeling, I don't know if you guys have ever felt, but everybody probably, if you're making any calls, you feel like you're bothering people, right? If you're never feeling like that, man, I DM me. I mean, like, I need to know like what's going on up here that I do. I feel like I'm bothering people sometimes. And I'm glad you bothered that lady, Akash. I'm glad Jonathan and Maria bothered their leads and it turned into business, but more so than that, guys, like it turned into like a relationship, a referral relationship, a even potentially a personal relationship, but definitely a business relationship. So I thought that was very cool. Did anything change this quarter in the market or in your clientele? And did you have to adjust anything at all in the last quarter compared to like the summer market or the spring market? If so, like what do you want to say about that and how can it help us? Jonathan, I see you unmuted first, go.
Yeah, I noticed a change because, starting in COVID, that was like my first experience in real estate, right? Because I've only been doing it for 16 months now. And so, especially helping buyers at the beginning of COVID, it was like a feeding frenzy. So it's just like they had to find something. They had no option. We just had to find them the right house that made the most sense. And they wanted to buy because they knew it was a good time, even if we were overpaying, because we were able to handle those objections. Now that we kind of had, a little bit of a market slowdown, right? It's not a bad thing. It's good. Actually, it's good for everybody. But now that we've had that, a lot of buyers kind of take it the wrong way. And, especially first-time home buyers, and they're all freaked out that, oh my God, the market's crashing and, oh, we're going to overpay and all this stuff. And so I've had, 2 buyers recently terminate contract on deals that like we were getting a good deal, like no doubt about it. So learning how to reframe that and show them that, hey, listen, the market that we're in right now is like a perfect mirror of 2019. So we're back to a normal market. Kids have gone back to school. People are going to get out there and buy and sell, and just really showing them that, listen, you want to buy now because interest rates will go back up, and prices in Austin are going to continue to climb. So you're gonna miss your opportunity to own in Austin.
Well said. I like that. This market is a perfect mirror of 2019. And 2019 was a phenomenal year, guys. I love that. Maria and Akash, did you guys notice any changes? Anything that you would share?
Yeah, so for me, I was kind of keeping my eye on the market, of course, just like we all are on the Monday meetings. And my key goal that I kind of saw was I'm waiting for inventory to open up with the new builders. So I started reaching out to all of my new build clients who are like, I only want a new build. And the minute it went to first come, first serve, I started pending those clients. And I pended a few of them into new construction right away. But then I thought, I'm like, wait a second, let me think about my investors as well right now. So then I had conversations with my investors. I'm like, listen, you guys own 2015, 2016 properties. What if we can sell that now, get you in under 300K somewhere? And of course, the only place under 300K is, San Antonio area. So we went San Antonio shopping. And I was able to sell 2 of their properties, 1031, and get them into 2 brand new 2021 constructions in San Antonio.
Oh, I like solutions. Solutions are good. Right on. You create your market. You create your market. Maria, what about you? Anything you'd add?
Yeah, so definitely the buyer change when it was, like Jonathan said, just like a frenzy in the summer. Also, we had, of course, in the past 3 months, we had more inventory come up, fewer pendings. And so taking advantage of that with buyers, also similar to what Akash said, like, when the new build inventory started opening up, started pending a bunch of new builds for next year. Helping kind of like retrain Ashley a little bit too on how to write normal offers versus like complete, just everything very like heavy seller focused, which it's still a seller's market, of course, but she had only learned to write offers when it was like crazy competitive. And so looking back, okay, this home has been on the market 14 days. Here's what we can do here. Here's what we write. We actually used to do $100 option fees and not $1,000 option fees, So going back to that and showing her and also relearning myself what the market looked like back a couple years ago. And then with sellers, of course, a lot of people were seeing the prices that their neighbor sold for this summer, not realizing like, hey, okay, they sold for 400, but they priced at 300 to get that. So really focusing on not overpricing, which I did make that mistake on a few, so I think really having those conversations and making sure we're pricing for the market coming up in the next month versus the summer's market. Yeah, and really actually working those listings to get them sold instead of getting 20 offers.
Oh yeah, gosh, no. Like that one good thing about the spring and summer market was that, offers were coming to you and now we have to solicit offers. Anybody else feeling that in your market where you are actually having to solicit the offers versus you like just getting like 20 offers on each property? Or is that just, okay, got it.
And it's definitely not a bad thing. It's a little nicer to not have to be crazy with buyers, because it's still a good seller's market, but it's just nice to have things a little bit more manageable.
Right on. I hear that. What about, did you learn anything about your business this last quarter? Anybody?
I'll go first. So, I learned that the network that you add to your database in the first 2 to 3 years just pays off exponentially in the following years, so I learned that I do have a strong network and database, and I could really further tap into that by being a little more systematic and get an even bigger return on what I put into it the first few years. And then I learned like you really never know where a deal's going to come from. So it's always good to be just professional and courteous to everyone you meet, if it's not even your side of the deal, or if you're, if it's just a random meeting within the industry, like, or even just outside of the industry in your personal life, always just being open to spreading your knowledge and helping anyone out there, even if it's not your client.
Can I ask you a follow-up question?
Yeah.
How many leads do you have like in your database?
Probably like 2,500, I would think.
Okay, I want everybody to hear that just for a second. I know how many. I could probably tell you exactly how many because I know everybody's numbers. But guys, like when you build, right? Like your first year or two, it feels like all you're doing is calling. Like, does anybody ever feel like that? Like all I'm doing, like I didn't get in the business to just call, right? Like if you never felt that way, then you are special. And you just, again, DM me and tell me how you're working that through your mind. Because most people feel like that. I remember feeling like that. But then you build your first 500, your first 1,000 database. And then over the years, you build on top of that. And then you wake up one day and you have 2,500 people in your database. When you have 2,500 people in your database, closing 50 deals is natural. It's just natural. It doesn't mean it's not work. Like Maria works. I mean, I know she works, you know. But I just want you guys to hear that when you build it big, right? The person who has 1 acre of land versus the person who has 100 acres of land, right? It's not that you can't do a lot on that 1 acre, but if that 100 acre person got serious, they would beat you every day. They just have more land. Somebody who builds a bigger database has more opportunity, right? Now, I'm not saying quantity over quality. I'm saying you can have both. You find the quality in the quantity. Anybody else business lessons that you learned, Jonathan?
Yeah, sitting down prepping for this, I came across 3 that I think are important. Obviously, we kind of already talked about referrals, just the importance of referrals, making like not just taking care of the client, but taking care of that referring agent, right? Because if they see the level of service that we're able to offer and the communication and how we can keep them in the loop, you're going to be the go-to going forward. So,
can I just pause on that? For everybody to hear, when you get a referral either from an agent or from a past client, remember, like, not only is the client your client, but the person who referred you to them is your client. That is the secret sauce. Like, if they feel confident in like the referral that they gave you, you're going to get more referrals. I love that you said that.
And then my second takeaway was just servicing after the transaction with clients. We're not, after the deal closes, we get paid. But I have like several right now that it closed months ago, and I'm still essentially servicing the client and helping them out. And a lot of them are first-time home buyers. Some of them have it like massive plumbing issues, and we're working through all kinds of things, right? Like, it's all unfortunate, and we never hate for bad things to happen. But they truly, truly appreciate like you actually going out of your way and truly being a fiduciary, right? Like making sure that it doesn't just stop when we get paid, but making sure that, they're happy with the new home that they just purchased. So that's what I've learned a lot of, and it's a lot of extra effort, and it will slow down some of your other momentum on other, but it's in the end, if we're building long-term businesses, it's worth it. And then my third takeaway from this past quarter was like really, really, truly understand the contract, understand what your clients are signing. We all want smooth transactions, but unfortunately, they're not all going to go that way. And unfortunately, the agent on the other side of the table is sometimes ambitious for their client as well. And so we have to be willing to kind of put our foot down and really protect and dig in and protect our clients. Because that's what we signed up to do, to look out for their best interest.
Well said. Well said. Oh my gosh. I think there's 3 types of transactions. There's the ones that go awesome. The other agent was awesome. There's the second transaction where the other agent or their client, you're also babysitting them. So lucky you get to do all the work. And then there's the third one where the other agent is very ambitious and also is holding everybody through the contract. And then you have to do lots of extra work as well. So look at that. 2 out of 3 times you're going to do extra work. Congratulations. I love that you said that, Jonathan. Right on. That's good awareness. Good awareness. Akash, anything you learned about your business?
Definitely along the same lines of what John just said with servicing after the transaction. That's something that I've definitely learned, being new in real estate, that's something that definitely happens and you need to do it just to keep the relationship going with your client, making sure everything went well with them. And then another big part for me is essentially realizing that my business can adapt and shift very easily, as this was the first shift I saw in the real estate market because I joined like very buyer heavy. And this was the first shift that I recognized. And, instead of kind of being scared and nervous about it, just presenting the facts to your clients, and then you can always find someone in this market or who the market's benefiting essentially. Luckily, right now, it's both sides of the transaction. So that's the crazy part is right now you can sell a top dollar and get in as a buyer still very nicely. And, if your clients aren't understanding that, go find new clients who will understand that basically.
You know, I really like that. If your clients are understand, like who has ever like worked with a client who just doesn't get it, doesn't want to listen to you, doesn't like, they are just like putting up like the way I'm putting up my hand, like that this is their attitude the entire time. Like, and Ben said something to me the other day. I was dealing with a crazy situation and he said, you know, 2% of all people are just crazy. Just like, if you run into the 2%, walk away. Nobody is telling you to work with crazy people. Like, don't do it. Don't do it. Right on. Right on. I hear that. I hear that. Oh, quick question before we go to our next program question. Tony in San Antonio, she asked, how do you handle unsigned buyers that insist on looking at homes before signing a buyer's rep? So like, what's your mindset on that and how do you handle it? Anybody who likes this question or wants to take this question? Akash, I see you unmuted.
Yeah, I deal with this one a lot with the unsigned buyers essentially. And, you know, I'll take them on one showing, I'll show them it, and I'll let them know, listen, I have a bunch of off-market properties and I fully blow in the off-market script and I'll give them a little taste. I'll show them 1 or 2 off-market listings and then say, listen, this is only fair to my clients because this is strictly for my clients. So how would you feel if you were my client and I'm showing this to someone else who's not part of my clientele essentially? And then that changes their entire view usually, and they'll sign right after that.
Okay, got it. Got it. Maria, Jonathan, anything new, different?
Yeah, I love the off-market script. I use that a lot too. And then I also go just off my intuition, honestly. If I feel like they're gonna waste my time and they've said it like point blank multiple times, like, no, I'm not gonna sign, then that doesn't seem good. It probably, you know, gonna move on. If I don't have any other buyers, I'll probably just do it. And yeah, so just going off my intuition, and if I feel like they're going to just waste my time, then no. But if I feel good about it and I don't have a lot of buyers at the time, then I'll probably take them.
Makes sense. Jonathan, anything for you?
Yeah, kind of chiming off what Maria just said. Like I mean, I've worked with buyers and showed them a lot of houses and never had a buyer rep sign, but I feel confident enough knowing that we have enough value. I have them locked in with BK-Co, not locked in with BK-Co, but I have them qualified with BK-Co mortgage. That's always a nice fallback. And so I just build enough value that's like, why would you go anywhere else and start from scratch with another agent that doesn't know what they're doing nearly as much as we do? So yeah, just building the value and just not make it sound dumb, but kind of make it sound dumb if they decide to go work with somebody else.
Right on. And I think one of the things that you guys do as top agents that might be you guys are in such mastery that it's you don't even realize you're doing it. If I had to guess, these 3 on this call have really honed in on pre-qualifying the client, right? Like you're not just like you know that they could buy, right? Like, I mean, you have some belief that they are willing, able, and ready to buy, right? And if they're willing, able, and ready, then the buyer's rep is just another piece of paper, right? I mean, it's important, right? Because you want to get them locked in as soon as you can. However, like you don't just jump for absolutely everything. And I think because they've built good skill around that, like, are they willing, ready, able to buy? And if that is a yes, then do one of these tactics. I like that.
One other thing I'll add to that is make sure you're asking at the right time, because I've lost buyers just by not building enough rapport up front and then asking them to sign, and they may have signed, they may have not, but ultimately maybe it wasn't the smoothest transaction, or it didn't, or maybe they even canceled because they didn't feel like after they signed it, they might have been like, oh, I don't know if I should have done that because I didn't do enough up front.
What does right time mean to you?
After you've built rapport with them and showed your value.
Yeah, so I'm so glad you said that, because if you don't have any rapport with a client, why would they sign anything? So that's really like we legally, like they need to sign with somebody before they buy a house, you know, most likely, right? But like, have you built the trust, right? That's really what Maria is saying.
A great way to build a rapport is having a formal buyer consultation, which I feel like in the summertime, everybody's in a hurry and we get away from that. And we forget, well, how do I build a rapport? Oh, I take them my buyer consultation.
Right on, right on. 100%. I love that. I love that. Anybody did out of the call, Jonathan, Maria, Akash, anything that you learned about yourself personally this quarter? It was probably your favorite question that I wanted to ask, huh? I know you had to really dig deep on this one. Jonathan's ready. There you go. Yes, sir.
We talk about it all the time, and it's super simple, but white space. I'm the kind of person that I can just work all the time, and I'm okay with it. And I like a challenge, and I like to build a business and set an example and whatever it might be. But I'm very easily forget about white space, and I can sometimes go 7 days a week, and then I hit burnout, and I hit burnout there for a while. And then everything just becomes painful, right? It's like, oh, why am I doing this? What's the point in this? And so, like Casey's always telling us, guys, make sure you block white space, whether it's just a couple hours, an afternoon, a week, whatever you need, you got to do it. But that's the awesome part about being in real estate, is that we can build the life and the career that we want, right? Like the sky's the limit. And so if there's a certain dollar amount that we need to make, well, then we need to make it during that time when we're on the clock or working. And then we need to make sure, like I took a week off last week, and I'm so rejuvenated this week. And I didn't want to take the week off. I was like, no, I got stuff to do. I got clients to serve. We can all sit there on Brivity and call people all day long, right? There's always somebody else to call. But it's so important just to remember, like, hey, we got to take care of ourselves. We got to take care of our families. We got to be with them. We got to show them that we're there for them, not just workaholics all the time.
Hey, Jonathan, I love your language around that. Super accountable language about that you were the one who chose not to take that white space. You have awesome accountable language. A lot of people blame their clients or blame the industry or whatever, but ultimately it's up to us to do that time blocking.
Yeah, right. Like Casey always says, we got to protect our time, right? Like we tell clients, hey, I have an appointment. Well, I have an appointment, or I have a commitment with my wife to have dinner, or, with the in-laws or with my parents, whatever it might be. Like we have to protect our personal time. And I think too often we don't do that. We tell our clients everything. Oh, hey, we make excuses. So yeah, that's a good point, Jordan.
I like that. Well said. Well said. The quote, if you work when you say you're working, then you'll feel the freedom to play when you say you're playing, right? And just like accountable to the time you actually work. And then, yeah, definitely. I love that. Maria, Akash, anything you guys learned about yourselves?
For me, I would say it's just basically piggybacking off of John, just being able to say no. For me, I was a yes man probably for 6 months. In my first 6 months, yes. Then I finally put my foot down. I'm like, listen, no. Like, this can be a waste of my time. My time is most important at this time. And that's something that I did learn essentially from getting burnt out and then having to take a vacation to kind of feel better, is that protect your time. Don't waste your time on stuff that is most likely going to be a waste of time. Trust your intuitions, trust your gut feeling, and just kind of go with that.
I like that. Right on. Maria, anything for you?
Very similar to protecting your time. Any professional, I think people will respect you more. Your clients will respect you more if you set boundaries for those times. And yeah, tell them you have a commitment. You might be just going to the gym, but you still have a commitment to yourself to do that. And you set that in your calendar, and don't fluctuate from that. If it's something that's an emergency or important, of course, but also, of course, I learned that, I want to treat every client with respect and just do the most for them I can. But there's a time where sometimes you realize that you're putting more respect and energy into it than you're getting out of it. And I don't think there's any amount of money that's worth that. So like, I did have one listing that I spent a lot of time on, and I wanted to see it to the closing table. I even got an offer, like we're almost going to close, but this person was it wasn't a good fit for us to work together. And I've gone down that path before where I still trying to make it work, and ultimately it either does or doesn't, but I still don't feel good about it. And so cutting ties with clients you don't want to dig too far into the hole and be like, oh, well, just one more week and I'll be done with it. Like, if it's not worth your time and that client's not respectful, then, cutting ties immediately, I think, is something I learned that I can and am able and should do.
I really like that. You can, you're able, and you should cut ties with people who are just not valuing you and your time. And also you're able, and you should take white space. That's actually really, really, really good. I like that. Going into Q4, what's your mindset? What are you going to be working on to set up a good head start for 2022? Whoever wants to take this question. John.
So we, as a team, we did the 90-day challenge. And so I committed to putting 15 under contract. So I've actually only put 4 under contract. So I am behind by 1 essentially for the month. So I got a lot of work to do, but I'm very grateful for my, as a new agent last year, I had a really hard push into Q4, and it really set up my, the first of 2021. So I'm looking back now, seeing, how strong the first of my year was, and I want to do that again. And so a lot of that's going to come from open houses. I know open houses was a great lead source for me at the beginning, and I kind of dropped off, just getting busy. And so now it's time to really refocus and go back to what it all started with, and just keep pushing.
I love that, Jonathan. A lot of times, like, people have a perspective that open houses are for new people. I'm at this week, I'm rooming with Elizabeth Alcott. Elizabeth is in Napa, and I don't know, she probably will make about 1.4 million net income this year, right? Personally, herself. That's a lot of money. I don't know if you guys know, but 140,000 is a lot of money. 1.4 million is a shitload of money, people. You know what she was doing yesterday? She was setting up her open houses for this weekend, because she's going to fly in at 11 o'clock, and she was talking to one of her girls, and she's like, so I need a 2 o'clock open house. I've got to do this. We need some more business, and, she is booking herself up for it. And then, like the rest of us, sometimes it's so easy to get off of that. What makes you successful? Don't stop doing the things that make you successful. Well said. Maria, Akash, what are you looking for? What's your mindset going into Q4?
My mindset is being excited for a strong finish and really front loading things, because I know that the last quarter, I usually take a little dip in the beginning of the year because of the holidays. It's my husband and I's birthday in October, and Thanksgiving, there's a bunch of stuff that usually happens October, November, December, that I usually take some time off. So I think that each month really recognizing and being realistic on when you're going to be taken off, and be purposeful in the times that you're not. So, 3 out of those 4 weeks every month, just be really purposeful and make up for the time, set expectations with your clients. And also working on hiring some sort of database manager here in the next few months.
I love that. Will you do your open house blitz this year or no?
I haven't decided yet.
So for everybody who doesn't know what an open house blitz looked like for you for the last 2 years, what does that look like?
Yeah, I did an open house challenge the past 2 years in a row. I forgot about that until just now. So thank you for reminding me.
I never forget anything. Doing an open house goal, we're going to do 50 open houses in the next 3 months. Well, that's a lot. Putting a number on it, basically, we're going to get this many leads from open houses. We're going to do X amount of open houses for, November, December, I think is when I did it before. Right on. What about you, Akash? Q4, what's your mindset? What are you looking forward to?
So same thing with the 90-day challenge. I initially set mine as 10 pendings, and then me and John Han had a little conversation there on the back end, and he was like, you know what, you can do 15. If you do 15, we'll go golfing together. And I was like, game. So I've made that my goal is 15. I've knocked out 5 so far, so I'm just trying to get the other 10 for the rest of this year. And I'm diving into my Brivity. I'm really I have a lot of gems in there that I just need to nourish and get back on my side, because I have been distanced a little bit, unfortunately. And then lastly, I'm dominating my listings. In the sense, what I mean by dominating is anyone who goes, looks at it, sees it, or talks about it, I want my name associated. So what that means is every open house that is there, I am at. I host all of the open houses at my own listings. I want to be the only person associated with someone who walked in there. And so far it's worked off. I signed 3 other listings right down the street from my current one over there.
I love that you said that, because I do get really confused when listing agents have a ton of other people doing open houses. Now, it is a big value prop to the team, 100%, but I am confused on why sometimes you work so hard to take a listing and then the listing agent doesn't circle prospect the area, doesn't door knock the area, doesn't do the open houses for that, because the opportunity wasn't the listing. That's just a paycheck. You can get a paycheck anywhere. You can go take out a buyer. You can go do enough leases, you'll get the same paycheck, right? The opportunity is not the actual paycheck. The opportunity is the inventory, the market share, the ability to go get like more sellers in that neighborhood, because now you have the in. Way to go. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. Bonus question, last one. We want to end on a light note. Any tools, maybe a couple tools, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, that is making your life better, faster, easier, anything that we should write down on our notes. Anybody who wants to take it first? Akash, I see your hand or unmute button.
For me, I don't know if you guys have seen, but that sexy new Brivity app that got released, essentially, the interface for it made my life so much easier. I'm literally showing it to people now, being like, look at how easy this is amazing. I sit at home and I work on Brivity like all evening now too, just on my phone. The way that made it so much easier for me is just way better. And then of course, time blocking your lead gen time. I do not tell any of my clients I'm available until 12 to 4 p.m. is the time slot I've made now. No one reaches out to me about appointments before 12 p.m. anymore.
Gosh, you know, it's interesting. When we train people how to treat us, that's how they treat us. So whatever, like we started talking about energy, whatever energy you're putting out, that's the energy you're going to get back, right? Like if your identity is I'm available 24/7, guess what? You're about to be available 24/7. If your identity is, hey, you know, like between 9 and 12, I build my business, you know, not that it, you know, there's never an exception, but for the most part, what you put out is what you get back. Jonathan, Maria, anything you guys would add? Any tools that you guys are enjoying?
Yeah, so like I said, I haven't done a lot of open houses, but I'm stepping it up. But for any new agents, I know I fell into it previously, doing like the hand sign-ins at the open houses. I kicked myself because I seriously lost probably so much business because I never actually got them into my Brivity, or it took me days to get them in. And so just word of advice is use the open house sign-in that we have through the BKT website. And if you don't know how to do it, ask us, we'll tell you. But it's an awesome tool because it instantly gets them into your Brivity database. It instantly texts them. It instantly like sets up a listing alert. Like it does all the work for you. And then you can go in behind the scenes and modify it. But just a huge value add to make sure that everybody's using.
Right on. Well said. Well said. Maria, what about you?
Definitely my calendar. That's my number one thing that I use to make my days more efficient. Looking the day before and planning, like if I have someone who may want to be writing an offer or or an appointment showing, whatever, you know, I'm not spending time like, oh, my appointment's at 11. Let me, you know, I'll prepare in the morning. Like that's just going to set you up to be frantic when things come up or you have to take calls and can't plan appropriately. If you have a listing appointment, of course, getting everything printed the day before, getting everything set up and putting everything that you're going to do in your calendar and sticking to that as best as you can.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting because all of the people right here on this call right now, I think people would all say that you have a reputation of being cool, calm, collected, right? And the reality is that, you know, John and Maria and Akash are cool, calm, collected, not because nothing ever goes wrong. In fact, probably more goes wrong for them because they do more deals, right? So, I mean, like just by default, more shit's going to happen, right? But if you leave it, if you have appointments today and you prep today, you are going to be frantic. You're setting yourself up to be frantic. You're setting yourself up for stress, right? Right on. I love that. Thanks for sharing this morning, guys, giving us a peek into your brain and into your world and into, you know, what selling the equivalent of 1 year and a quarter looks like. And you guys consistently do it. It's not like this like random one good quarter, which if you did have that, awesome. If that was you and you had an awesome quarter, high five. Mostly this morning and next Thursday and the following Thursday, I'm looking for who's having consistent good quarters, and Q3 was a good quarter. So appreciate you letting us learn from you guys, and we'll learn from the next three and the next three. And then you guys, after that, Ben and Chris are going to do a Friday call. If it's not already on your schedule, you'd want to have it on your schedule. It's going to be October 22nd. You want to time block about 2 hours for that call. So that week, we're not going to have a Texas Power Up, so that like because we're going to have a 2-hour call with Ben and Chris on Friday, like I'm not going to take up another time, slot in your week. But October 22nd, and they're going to walk us through like the mindset that we want to have for goal planning and all of that. So it'll be a really good call. So I'm really, really grateful as we're coming in, doing a good final push for the year, and then setting up a really nice 2022, right? Like Jonathan said, this is a good, Jonathan or Akash, one of you, all of you said, this is a good market for everybody, right? You create your market, and it's going to be awesome. Thanks so much, guys. We'll see you guys next week. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Thanks, everybody. See y'all.
Bye, Casey.
Thank you.
Bye, girl.
Thank you.